Remember rotary phones? Yeah, neither do I. But what if I told you apps might be going the way of the dodo bird next?
Whoa, that's a pretty bold statement.
It is, right? But that's what we're diving into today. We've got this really interesting article from Forbes. Will artificial intelligence bring about the end of smartphone apps? It was published in November of last year, 2023.
Okay, so jumping right into the future of our phones, huh?
Well, maybe not immediately, but this article makes a case for a post-app world, and it's pretty convincing.
Post-app world. That almost sounds ominous. What does that even look like? Like, no more little square icons on my phone.
Exactly. Well, maybe not overnight. But the article suggests that AI, especially this generative AI we keep hearing about, could change how we interact with technology in a really fundamental way.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So, no more endlessly scrolling through rows of apps. What's the alternative?
Imagine, like, instead of opening apps for everything, you have the super smart AI assistant on your device. It
Hmm.
knows what you need before you need it, kind of like a personal assistant, but digital.
So, like a much more advanced version of Siri or Alexa.
Kind of. The article talks about these AI agents that learn your preferences, anticipate your needs. It would be less about you hunting down the right app and more about technology just working seamlessly in the background.
That'd be a welcome change. I swear, half my battery goes to constantly opening and closing maps.
You and me both. Think about it. Booking flights, ordering food, getting directions, all without even opening an app. You just tell your device what you need, and it takes care of it.
That does sound way more streamlined than what I'm used to. So how would this even work? I mean, is this even possible with today's technology?
Well, that's the thing. The article says this concept has actually been around for quite a while. Bill Gates was even a big proponent of it like decades ago. What's different now is that the technology is finally catching up to the vision.
So we're finally reaching that tipping point where the future is actually becoming possible.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around a world without apps.
It's a big shift, for sure. But the article points out we're already seeing hints of it. Oh yeah, like what?
Think about facial recognition to unlock your phone. That's essentially bypassing the need for a password app, right? Or using voice commands with Siri stuff we take for granted now would have seemed like science fiction a few years ago.
That's true. I can see how those are like baby steps toward this whole post-app future.
Right, and this article dives into what that future could look like, the potential benefits, and the challenges. It's a really fascinating read.
It sounds like it. So what are some of these potential benefits? Is it just about convenience? Or is there more to it?
So this post-app world is about making technology more intuitive. It's not about adding more features or apps, but about simplifying our relationship with technology.
Right. It's about creating a more natural flow between our needs and how technology fulfills them.
Yeah.
And it gets even more interesting. The article brings up something called the A Pin, a wearable device from a company called Humane.
A pin. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one. What is it?
It's a wearable, a small pin, actually, that you wear like a badge.
So, like, instead of carrying around a smartphone,
You've got this little AI assistant right there on your chest. The really wild part is that it doesn't even have a screen.
wait, what? No screen? How do you even use it?
That's the cool part. You interact with it using your voice and hand gestures.
Mm.
It's like a super intuitive, hands-free way to communicate with your own personal AI.
So you're telling me I could be walking down the street, need to make a quick call or check my calendar, and I can do all of that just by talking to this little pin on my shirt.
Exactly. It's all powered by AI. It learns your routines, your preferences. It can even anticipate your needs in some cases. Let's say you're running late for a meeting. It could proactively notify you, suggest alternate routes, maybe even send a message to the meeting organizer letting them know you're on your way.
I mean, on the one hand, that sounds incredibly convenient, but on the other hand, it's a little, I don't know, maybe even a little creepy, like having this thing know so much about me, you know?
That's understandable. It's definitely a big adjustment, trusting AI to that extent. But that's the direction we're heading in. The technology is advancing so rapidly, and this AI pin is just one example of what's possible in this post-app future.
It's a lot to wrap your head around, that's for sure. So if this is the future, what happens to all the apps and app developers? I mean, that's a huge industry.
It's true, there would be a massive shift. But the article suggests that instead of creating apps for us to download, companies would focus on integrating their services with these AI agents.
So instead of opening Uber, you just tell your AI, get me a ride, and it knows to connect to Uber based on your preferences and past behavior.
Exactly. It's all about seamless integration. And it makes sense, right? I mean, who wants to deal with a million different apps when you can have one AI that manages everything for you? It's about making technology disappear into the background of our lives rather than constantly demanding our attention.
That's a great point. But it also raises some big questions like, what about data privacy? If all our information's flowing through these AI agents, how do we know it's being handled responsibly?
You're right, that's a huge concern, and that's something the article touches on as well. This shift to a post-app world comes with its own set of challenges, and data privacy is definitely one of the biggest.
I mean, it sounds like a potential privacy nightmare if we're not careful, right? I'm picturing those targeted ads on steroids.
It's a valid concern, but it's also an opportunity to rethink how we approach data privacy in a more comprehensive and user-centric way.
So we've been talking about a potential future where AI agents replace apps and completely change how we interact with technology. But this whole thing hinges on AI, right? I mean, is that technology really there yet?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And to be honest, the article acknowledges that we're still in the early stages. While AI has made incredible leaps, it still has a long way to go before it can truly understand and anticipate our needs in the nuanced way needed for this post-app future.
So it's not like apps are going extinct tomorrow.
Probably not. But the shift is already happening, little by little. And it's not just about the technology itself. There are huge economic implications, too. The article brings up this whole idea of a disruption, which, let's be honest, sounds a little scary.
Well, disruption usually means big changes, and big changes can be unsettling, right?
Exactly. And we're talking about a massive industry here. Think about all the companies, the developers, the entire app economy built around our smartphones. Millions, billions of dollars at stake.
It's one thing to talk about a few futuristic gadgets, but if this post-app world really takes hold, there are going to be some winners and losers.
Yeah.
What does the article say about how companies are reacting to all of this?
Well, some companies are definitely starting to pay attention. The article talks about a shift from app downloads to a focus on AI integration. Basically, instead of trying to get us to download yet another app, companies would focus on making their services accessible through these AI agents.
So in this future, success isn't about having the most popular app in the App Store. It's about who can work best with these AI agents.
Right. Think about it like this. In a post-app world, the AI agent becomes the new gateway to accessing information and services. It's a fundamental shift in how we interact with the digital world. So companies will need to adapt if they want to stay relevant.
It's almost like those AI agents become the new operating system, in a way, and everything else runs on top of them.
Exactly. It's a whole new playing field. And it's not just about companies adapting. There are broader societal implications as well.
Oh.
We've already touched on data privacy, which is a huge concern.
Yeah, that's something we definitely can't gloss over. It sounds like we're handing over a lot of control to these AI agents, and with that comes a lot of responsibility to make sure that data is being handled ethically and securely.
Absolutely. And that's something the article emphasizes as well. It's not just about the convenience and the cool factor of this technology. It's about addressing these ethical considerations head on.
So it sounds like this potential post-app world comes with both incredible promise and some very real concerns.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes it so fascinating to think about. It's easy to get caught up in the hype, but we also need to be realistic about the challenges and think critically about the implications of this technology.
I completely agree. So as we wrap up our deep dive today, I think the biggest takeaway is that we're on the cusp of a potentially massive shift in how we interact with technology. Whether or not apps completely disappear remains to be seen, but the way we access information, connect with services, and even experience the world around us is evolving rapidly. It's an exciting time to be paying attention to these advancements, but also a time to be asking tough questions and demanding responsible development of these powerful technologies.
Well said. I think curiosity and a healthy dose of skepticism are essential as we navigate this uncharted territory.
I couldn't agree more. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. It's been an enlightening conversation.
My pleasure. Always happy to dive into these big ideas.